Hello guys, welcome to my video again and welcome to my fifth chapter. The fifth topic is kind of a deep topic. It is, can you share your fear? Can you open your fear? Can you reveal your fearness? The reason I choose this topic is because one of my weakness is I'm actually have a very bad habit. Like I'm very hard to asking for help to other people's, and when I usually have a hard times, I usually struggle inside myself. Even I have a very close family or friends near me, but I usually just keep on my mind and just put inside myself. So sometimes I overthink about a problem and just think a lot and makes me postpone to make an action. But in some point, I just felt that this is a very bad habit that I have, and I just wanted to fix it. And actually, I'm still fixing it. I'm in a process, and I know a lot of people's can, and a lot of people's are struggling and overthinking, same like as me. But what I learned during my short life is fear is just in our mind, and fear is not in the real life. Fear is not in the reality. So if we face it, it's gonna be disappeared. And I just want to share this message to the people who are struggling and overthinking during their life. I just want to make them feel comfortable that they can open it, and it's apparently and gradually gonna be solved if you, as much as you take to an action. For the interviewees I met for this video, they were very brave enough to share their fearness, and they were also very honest to share how they solved and overcame. And I really hope everyone watching this video can also be more brave enough to confront their fear during their life and stop overthinking and stop defining that as a fear.
So I will say that definitely a lot of people have family issues, and that would be nice to, don't have solve them. But I think the main thing I would like to solve for me is stability. Like I lack stability sometimes, like in which economically, but also I don't really know what I want to do in the future, and that sometimes makes me feel anxious. And that's something I would like to solve. I will be either accept the things as they are without expecting too much from them and just being okay with what I am now, or found what I want to be. One of those. Right now I'm just always changing my mind.
Okay, so your most common thoughts these days is about thinking you don't know what you want to do in the future. Okay. That was my most common thinking until last year. And you see my video. My first video's topic was, how did you find your dream? That was my first topic. The reason is I was overthinking so much about that, how to find a dream. So for me, I want to be a announcer, a journalist from in this moment. And the way I found it is, I also didn't know until your age, because it was last year.
My age.
Last
year.
Yeah, 1 year is different.
I'm so young. So.
But in some point, when I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was still curious like you and did a lot of things. I think that's a very good attitude to find in some point, because in my university, I was working in the university broadcast and doing the theater club, what I want, and also I enjoyed a lot of sports club. And in some point, I was just sitting on the lecture class. It's like a job interview lecture, and there was a paper. He said, write what you want to do. And when I just reminded what I did in university, it looked like I want to be a sports journalist. So I just realized, and I wrote it on the paper, and then I was very sure. But the reason I found is because I keep doing something I like. So I think keep doing something I like is a good way to find what you want to do. And when I recover my past, also when I was very young in elementary school, I actually wrote I wanted to be a sports commentator
Okay.
on the paper to submit to my teacher. So also reminding your past, your childhood is also a good way to find what you want to do, I guess. So yeah, this was just my experience and what I can say.
I think it's a good point, especially searching in childhood could be very interesting to find out that maybe when you were a child you actually had some interest, and maybe it could be nice to try to get them to understand if maybe that's when you want to be, maybe that's when you are. I think childhood shapes our future
Yeah.
and not just our past.
Yeah.
So that's a good suggestion.
I think you're gonna find soon. because
I
you're-
hope so.
You're walking everywhere so broadly.
Yeah, I do.
I know you're an active guy, so. But also, I think just revealing our weakness and talking honestly to someone who can listen is just enough to be more better. I
Okay,
think revealing.
talking.
Yeah. So thank you for opening your weakness.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. What is your strengths and weakness?
Oh, yeah. My strength is compassion and understanding. I use it very much daily.
Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also with my kids, my son has have had anxiety in his life.
Yeah.
And anxiety is kind of, you need to get close to people and understand it because it's very physical in the body. So with compassion, you can get really close to someone and help them let go of the anxiety. From my
Yeah.
weakness, like I gave too much when I had twins. So I tend to put people first and myself last. It's a mother thing to do. I have 4 kids.
Yeah, so putting too much, but you're the last one. That's your weakness, you said
Yeah.
before.
So I kind of tend to forget about myself and forget what I need. And then I learned about in Buddhism, you also have to fill yourself up because then you have nothing to give.
Yeah,
So it's very important, self-compassion.
fulfilling ourselves first, then we
Yeah.
can have the energy to give to other people.
And also every time you meditate, every time you do like Tai Chi or yoga or something, you do it with the intention of helping people.
Yeah. The main question is like, in this moment or in the past, like what we talk about, like the weakness and how you deal with it, like what was your fear and what was you like afraid of about specifically?
I have one thing I work with constantly. I was molested as a child when I was 4,
What is that?
abused by one person. Only
Abused,
one,
yeah.
sexually abused.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
And you were a kid.
when I was a kid, when I was 4 years old, yes. And it kind of stuck with me because I was so young. And when you go to church, you're being told that it is bad. And I was like, I had this experience of something I didn't ask for
Yeah.
that happened to me.
Yeah.
And then the religions say that this is very bad, but they don't get you don't talk about it, you don't get a cure for it.
Yeah.
And you don't. So I have a tendency to fear physically. I like emotionally closeness, but physically closeness is difficult for me. Also, even with my
Yeah,
husband.
could be, of course, when you've experienced that.
Yeah,
very young age.
I'm working with. I found out again, going Eastern, Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Tai Chi Chuan is a martial arts where you work with partner works. So you have your hands in
It's a
each
physical
other.
activity.
Yeah, physical activity,
Yeah.
and you work with feeling yourself. Also, when somebody has a hand on me, sometimes I dissociate and don't want to feel my body, so I have to be in touch.
So you experienced that when you were very young, like in the 4 age, and that could be maybe became as a trauma. And
Yeah.
when did you start to meditate that? Like,
I started to work with. I actually told my husband only when I was 31 what I went through because I was afraid. You kind of feel dirty inside. You feel like shameful and dirty.
Yeah,
And I
sure.
told him what I've been through in my life, and he just hugged me deeply and
Yeah.
said, "Now we are going to work it out." And then I started to try to work it out with the Western way we do it, and that didn't help.
Yeah, and then you found
Yeah, and then I read in a book about martial arts in a Buddhist way, how anger and compassion goes together. So
Yeah.
when you feel like this intense anger from trauma, then you work with compassion and understanding.
I thought you had started the meditation probably more early. But
No,
you started
no,
when you met
I
your
was-
husband
Yeah, no, 4 years ago I
4
started.
years ago. Like it could have been like a long period, like living with that trauma. If you started quite 4 years ago, then yeah.
I don't want to tell anyone, and then but also when I met it in other people, I want to help you, but I
Yeah.
don't want you to know about me. And now I've understood I need to.
You are also hard for asking for help, like
Yeah.
about yourself.
Yeah, I kind of didn't expect anyone to be able to help. I didn't understand what I've been through, so it took a long time to like get to know what happens.
Did you also
Happy-
felt that like you think the reason you didn't share and open your trauma is like it could affect the other people feels bad? Like
Yeah.
the mood will be very heavy.
Yeah, because it affects lots of people. I heard one of my Zen teachers talk about Oprah Winfrey, who also had experienced trauma. And then one time she had to interview a person who had experienced the same, and she kind of dissociated. She couldn't be with it because
It's so hard to open.
yeah, and also it reminded her about how vulnerable she was. Like, even though you don't want to be a victim, you are a victim. Like, and to stop being a victim, you need to understand what you've been through. But
Yeah.
like, for many people, it's nicer just to put it away. So
Yeah.
you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to remind people about things.
But how did you first talk about that? Like because of the meditation?
No, I started with something called guided imaginary and music therapy.
Music.
Yeah, so we listened to music, and then then my body just remembered everything, the sensations, and so I had a major like stepping into total darkness and just remember everything. I
Yeah.
remember what happened, but I
Yeah.
didn't remember the feeling. And my husband noticed, and then I told him. So it was like opening with music.
Opening with music and the
Yeah.
people close to you, like you had a people you can share
Yeah,
with.
it's so important to have people you can share with who like holds it like you hold a child. Like, it's okay and you're safe now, and yeah.
Seeing your past and just
Seeing my
now
past.
you're quite stable. Like, what would you like to say like to the people's like hard to reveal their fears and their like bad past, like what they don't want to remember?
Yeah, what
How can we make them more comfortable? Like,
I hope that people who get through their stuff and start to know how to help others start to be brave enough to do it like you do. You start talking. That's so important. And for the people who are in it and don't know the way out, like, just stay with it and stay with being alive, and then things start to open up when you're ready. That's Taoism. The teacher appears
Yeah.
when you're ready, and
Get
the
interested
teacher
to
disappears
Taoism.
when you are when you
and
are.
we confront, yeah.
Yeah, and also I had some of the toughest times the last years. I've thought a lot about also Taoism, like you have to stand and wait until the water clears. So it's like when you stand in the middle and you don't know what to do, it's like being in, like seeing in a glass of water that is muddy. And then you have to wait, and then the mud falls down, and then, this is where you go.
Okay, so when we put in the reality, like, so you mean just there will be a good timing to open?
Yeah, I've seen it with lots of people that things kind of open. Like, this is spiritual.
Yeah.
This is not, and we're not that good at spirituality, but this is believing and maybe praying or meditating about believing in the good, and then understanding it takes time. Like, working with this is a lot about patience and waiting for
them to
people to
talk.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't talk much. Sometimes they say like a bit of a thing, and then I'm like, And then I work with self-confidence, because I don't really talk about trauma. I understand when I sit with a person who is, but I just try to get them to see what they're good at. So instead of focusing, like the mind focusing on the bad things, to start to understand I have something I can do, and I have something I need to bring to the world. I have a dream about a job I want, or an education I want. It's kind of like people are sometimes like their soul is kind of asleep when they're really traumatized, and then you kind of wake them up or start a light inside them. It's about suffering, and then I said, no, Buddhism is about happiness. It's happiness. Like, you see suffering and you need to deal with it so you can be happy.
You can turn to happiness.
Yeah.
I'm very glad and grateful that there's a person like you understanding and trying to help. One of my very close people in Korea also do something like this, like meditation. So when I talk with you, I keep thinking about it. I was thinking about it, and yeah, it was so much. Thank you for revealing your fear, and it could be hard to reveal, but now I guess it's not hard for you because you are in a good way. Okay, so what is your fear, and what is your fear during your life now?
Well, I have been having fear about financial struggles. I have had financial struggles in the last few years, and well, it's something that slowly I learned, well, at least for me, because I was lucky. Every time that a step came by and I needed to figure out something financially, always something came out around it. But I don't want to live through the fear of always waiting for something to help me and something to come up to figure out. But because of where I came from and the problems that I have had financially through my life, that has always, like, sometimes people are not aware around the world that not everybody lives in a society that it's possible to save and to have savings and to save money, and I didn't have that opportunity when I started to work, when I finished my bachelor's, when I
Did you finish your bachelor in
Venezuela? Yes.
Venezuela,
Yes. So I didn't have that opportunity because you needed to live day by day about your finances, because that was the only way to live in Venezuela, and it didn't have
because of the inflation.
Because of inflation and because of different stuff around financial is a whole big deal, like a political and economic explanation that it's hard to grasp just in a second. But let's make it only about inflation, in a sense, to simplify it. But at the end, I don't wanna. I'm always fearful of not having that, like, baseline financial things that other people take for granted. Try to live.
Now you have the opportunity. What happened for the between? Like, are you more stable now?
I still need to pay back a lot, but I have right now the opportunity to be, like, stable for a moment and try to save some money. So that's what I'm doing. But it's about that. It's about finding the balance between saving money and live your life, because you cannot just have one thing and try to save and save. You need to find that balance, and that's what I'm trying to do to face my fear. But I don't think that there needs to be a problem to be a fear. People are fearful of stuff without having the problem. I had this fear because of how my life has been going through, but that doesn't mean that, there's a huge, or that to understand my fear, you don't need to understand my problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Actually, the one I want to send the message is, I just started the conversation as a fear and defined as a fear, but it's just a life, and it's something we can, like a lot of person can oftenly confront in their life, like
Yeah.
worrying about the money, how to live. So the thing is, I think you have a very good mindset already. Like it's, I just said a fear, but it's just a life. It's just something we have to solve.
Yeah, life is like if we don't confront our fears, we cannot. We need to be aware of that, and there's a lot of fears that even myself I'm not fully aware of me having. But it's about that. It's about life. Yeah, it's my reality is not connected to my fears only. My fears are a response to my realities, and I work through that. But
Okay,
that's just that. You know?
nice. Thank you for opening your
Yeah,
fears.
don't worry.
Yeah, I really love your strength is a kindness. You can have that.